Welcome back to part 2 of our Paintabilities lesson on a wagon wheel holiday wreath. And in this lesson, I'm going to be sharing with you how we're going to create the decorations that go on this different type of wreath that I found that I really think is very interesting and clever. So first thing I want to do is you saw in part 1 the inspiration photos that I used for this from Chloris Crafts is the name of the wreath design that they used. And in this I'm going to kind of combine a couple of things that I liked from both of those wreaths. So the first thing I want to do is get my bow in place because I need to know where that's going to be and where everything is going to spray out from underneath that bow. So I'm going to take a pencil. I'm just going to sketch a bow design. Let's come down so we can get closer here. There we go. All right. And so I'm just taking a regular pencil and I'm going to create the edges of my bow. And so I've got an inside edge. I'm going to do a 2-layered bow here. So it comes in like this. And then in like this, and then this one is above, so I don't want it down there, I want it up here. So this one's going to be above and come into the center like that, and then we have a round center, right? So this is dropping down, this is up here. And then we're going to duplicate that on the other side. So we're going to come out. Now that's going to be hard to see. So let me try a little bit of chalk here. We're going to come out. That's not showing up either. There we go. Okay, so this is about 2 fingers wide on this side. I'm going to come over on this side and make it the same. So if you remember in my previous lesson, I said, the center of the wheel isn't going to matter, and I actually didn't even need to put that little center in there. So, so there's the chalk writing, and then we have that's above. So then this side is going to come below and underneath and come up into the center there. So like that. Out here and across like that. Okay. Then we have the tails of the bow. All right. So I like a more flat tail. I don't care for curly tails. So I'm going to just come out and down. We're going to give this a fairly long tail. Actually, let's make that just a little bit wider. And then here. And then this will be our center line. Okay. So that, and then we'll have another one, and that's going to come here also, and kind of loop down like this, and come in, and then back out, and then we'll have a V there as well. Okay, so right through there. Now I can figure out where everything else goes because I now know where my bow is going to be placed, right? So this is going to come up here like that. Okay, so with bows, you always want to think about, want to see the insides of the ribbon if you're looking at it from certain angles. And so we put it like that, you can see the inside. All right, then from there, we're going to have sprays of some berries. And so I'm going to have greenery that's going to come out from below here and shoot out that way. And then we'll have some greens that come this way. They're going to come all the way up here and shoot out like that. And maybe have one that comes out from underneath. Okay, so now to get a good color base on my bow, I'm going to have to come back in and base coat this white just so I can let the pretty colors that I'm going to put on there show. So I'm going to put out some white right now. I'm going to take my 16 flat and I'm going to load that with Wicker white. We're going to come in here and just base coat this whole thing. And I'm following the design sketch so that my paint strokes will show me where that outline is, because white covers up most everything. So still stroking back in towards the center of the bow so that I don't accidentally stroke in a different direction and have that look strange when I go to paint it later. Okay, and there's the center, and then the tails. Okay. All right, so now that just has to dry. And while that's drying, we can go ahead and do the greenery that's behind it, since that's what you want to do. Work from back to front. Okay, so let's get out some colors that we want to use for that. I'm going to get out some bright green. And sap green. Put those next to each other since I'll probably be multi-loading those. Let's get a little bit of citrus green as well. Put that on the other side of my sap. Okay, now, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double load with my two greens here. This is bright green and sap green. So you just go between the two with pressure, working the colors into your brush. And then flat and flat to get a nice chisel edge, okay? There we go. Didn't have enough paint on the outside. All right, so first thing I want to do is kind of get the stems of what I'm going to be doing here. So coming from underneath my bow, and we're going to come this way. back up just a hair. There we go. Okay, and so that will be the backdrop for all of our berries and other pretties that we're going to put on here. So what I want to do next is start to build in some of these longer needled and shorter needled pieces. Okay, so first thing I want to do on this existing loaded brush is I'm going to come side stroke a little bit of white on that bright green edge. All right, and we're going to come right up here to these tips of these longer stems, and let's come down so you can see this now. So we're going to come right here and pull short little strokes back. Let's come out here and add a few, give it a few branches. So I keep working with the two greens and the white. Short little, without pressure, chisel strokes from that brush, okay? So I'm doing short little branches that are coming off of it and then joining back up with the main stem here. Got a little heavy with the white there. Strong white, I want that to really pop on there. There we go. Okay, and then do the same thing on these. Using my dark, so I'm coming back to get some of that. And remember you're layering, so you want to, when you come to where a branch joins the main stem, like for example here, right, and I come into that main stem right there, then I have to come from above and overlap that. And then you just keep working your way down. Okay, and we'll come back up here. Now I want this one to be some longer needled pine, but I want to fill in a little more. So here, I'm going to put another branch. Okay, coming back to my main colors, reloading my brush, and then side stroking strong white. We'll put another one right here. Okay, so then I'm just going to kind of fill in this area with some background green. All right, and then before I switch colors, I'm going to go ahead and do some that are coming out from the bottom. So let's do one here. Using my darks, I'm going to come back and get that. Okay, one down here. One second. Now once we get this ribbon in, then I can come and add more greens that might spill over it. Okay. So we'll do one more here. Okay, and just fill in there. All right, so now what I want to do is add some of the long needled pines. So I'm going to back up just a little bit so you can see the colors I'm using here is going to be the sap green again, but then the citrus green will be my option for the lighter color green. Still working with my 16 flat. All right, and I'm going to need a little bit of medium, I think, just so I can get a nice flow with these strokes and not have them go dry. So just a little bit of medium worked in with that brush. Okay, so let's start up here. We're on the chisel edge, all right, and we're going to stroke out, leading with the light color, and we're going to spray out long slender strokes. Now I'm going to flip my brush and I'm going to pull the lighter green to get a little bit more of that. Might need just a touch of white on that to help pop it up a bit. There we go. All right, and then finish that with just a couple more of the dark needles. Okay. So I'm going to turn this slightly this way, and then let's add another one popping over this way. Get a little bit of white on there again. from here. And we'll do a couple down here. Okay, now let's, whoops, wow, picked up a whole bunch of that dark by accident. Come through here. Out there. That's going to definitely be a spot where I want to come back in and add more after I get that bow in place. And here as well. So I might just wait and do that. Okay, and then just finish with a few coming over here. I want to kind of fill this all in with some green, because that'll help the berries pop when I put that in there too. Okay, there, that's a nice spray, I think. All right, so we're going to wait on the berries. I think we can come back now and work on our wreath. And I'm going to focus this wreath on being metallics in a plaid sort of look. So the first thing I want to do is get my base color on this, which is going to be a green bow with red plaid. Okay, so I'm using two different types of treasure gold here. I've got green gold and antique copper, and then I also have a little bit of rose gold that we're going to use for a little pinstripe in there as well. So I shook these up, and then I can work from the paint on the cap. So maybe, so I can avoid dumping it out, but I don't think that's going to work out that well for me. Let's see. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is come in here and base coat over that white with the green. Okay, and See how that white now, because that was under there, is letting this green really kind of pop. But I want to make sure I get a good coat here. So let's come out all the way, and then we'll do the inside one. Okay. And then here. So it goes up there and then down here. And right, and then this front bow line is right here. Okay, and then continuing then with the center. And the tails. Okay, that one, and then this one here. All right, so that's pretty much based in the color, the green metallic ribbon for the bow. And we'll let that kind of set up now before we do all of the plaiting on that. So, and we'll skip now to our berries. Okay, so we're going to use some bright red. This is apple red for our berries. And I'm going to be using the green to shade with that, shade these berries with. So we're going to do some large and some small berries. So I've got a 5/8 inch dauber and a 1/4 inch dauber. Okay, so I'm also going to put out some more berry wine. There we go. So this is going to, there's 2 different sizes and types of berries on this. So I really like this kind of bringing these 2 together. So let's first load our large dauber, with the apple red. And then I'm going to come right over here and get some sap green on the bottom to shade the bottom edge of that. And then I'm going to come here and get just a little bit of red. All right, so that's going to be the tone of our berry right there. And we can just pick up more red in the middle with the white. Did I say red before? I meant to say white. Okay, so let's come out here to the farthest point and we'll work our way back. So I'm going to put one right there. Right. white's not picking up. There. And we'll do a couple more here. Maybe one right there. Okay, so that's a nice spray. I think it goes up to a point, and then we'll fill in with the smaller berries when we're done with these. So let's come down here, and now we can put in some coming out this way. So we'll come down here and get a reload out here. Let's see, come here. I'm going to go a little lower than the other side. A little more white. I can't seem to, I'm trying to be careful not to get too much white because I don't want them pink. And that's what I'm getting now. Okay, and then I'm going to let one spill over here and one there. And then we'll just put a couple here. Okay, so that's a nice variation, I think. So now we can come to our smaller dauber, and I'm going to load this with berry wine. And let's see if the green will help us with that a little bit. Okay. So sap green and berry wine on this one. And so these are darker burgundy colored berries, okay? So they're going to come in here. It's weird, the shape of my dauber doesn't look round. All right, so those look really rich and dark, don't they? So down here in the center. All right, now I'm going to start picking up just a little bit of the apple red with it as we get further out. They might be a little further in the light. A little more of the brighter red ones on top of those. It was just a really full branch of different shapes and colors of these berries, so I thought it'd be real pretty. Yeah, that looks nice. All right, so let's go back to our darker colors real quick. We'll come put some in here. And then we can come in with the apple red. Okay, I think that looks very nice. All right, now to finish off these berries, a couple of things we need to do. I want to come in with my script liner, and let's get some of that real brown. All right, so water and real brown to an inky blend. And then maybe streak through a little bit of white, clean white. All right, so now what we want to do is just kind of pull a few stems out into these berries. We don't have to attach every single one of them, but just some hints of some stems here and there. A little more brown. A little bit of that white in there. Getting too thick on the end. There. Okay, so those are kind of showing, but they're just little hints of stems. And then I want to, as I'm doing that, I can come in and do just a few little branches. That looks good. Keep losing my white. And out here we want brown. There. Okay, so I'm going to do a few of those branches up here as well. They need to be a little thicker brown. And streaks of white. Not feeling like these are showing up very well. I wonder if it needs to be a stronger brown maybe, or maybe a metallic. Oh, that's better. I think I just didn't have enough brown on my brush. Okay. And just kind of twist the brush as you do that to get little stems here and there. All right, now I feel like I need one last one over here. There. Okay, good balance. Okay, so what I want to do now is let's work on this bow. So we've got this pretty green in here, and what we want to put now is our stripes of, this is antique copper, but it has a purplish gold tone to it. It's just beautiful. So I'm going to take a 10 flat, and we're going to load our brush with this antique copper. See how pretty that is? Okay, so first thing I want to do is get the placement of my plaid striping. So I'm going to go around this outside edge here, and then, you know, right off the bat, I didn't do that right, because this needs to be narrower inside. It needs to come from narrow and then go wide. Let's try that again. And we'll come down so you can see a little better. Okay, so here we're going to come and then push as you come out to the edge of the ribbon. And then the bottom here, push skinny and then push as you come out to the edge. Okay. So I want to come back in and add some of that green back in there. There. Okay. All right, so coming back to this antique copper, and so on the inside of the oval here, we're going to have a little bit showing right there. And then over here, we're going to go opposite those stripes. So we'll have a little bit inside, it's going to come around here, and so here we can come wide, because we're already past the pinch point, right, wide. And then from here, we'll go to pinch and out to wide. Okay. And then we'll do the same thing on this side. So we'll have a little piece right here inside the bow, and then we'll go from wide to a pinch right there, down and stand up. And then here, and then we'll have a little one there. And then these are all wide. And stand up there. And then our bow, our knot in the middle, will have that's a little bit of striping there. And then we'll come from here, out, and stand up. And we're just, when you're doing this, you got to make sure that you're following the curve of the ribbon. Okay. All right, so that's the one direction. Now we have to do the other direction, and I'm going to use a smaller brush for that. So let's drop down to a 6 flat. Okay, and so we're going to come from here. Following the curve of that ribbon. No, I'm not liking that. So why don't we change that up to the treasure gold, or to the rose gold. I think that'll look prettier. Let's see how that looks on here. Yeah. So because it's fabric, you want to give it a little bit of movement. I love the coverage of this stuff, because even with that darker on there, I can go right over it. Okay, and then so here we're going to come following the movement of the ribbon. Okay, so that's got to dry, and then we can do some shading that will really help this take better shape now that we have all the striping and everything done. Okay, so while we're waiting for that to dry so we can do our final shading, I'm going to go ahead and take my 6 flat, and let's get medium on that. And then we're going to side load. I need some fresh white. Side load some fresh white. And so what I want to do with this is I'm going to come along on some of these berries and add a little more highlight to them. Okay. Just to kind of help them look a little more realistic. Okay. And then especially on some of these smaller ones, maybe just a little bit of glare on there. Okay, and just here and there. Now, some of these larger berries actually had a little, I think they were rose hips, and so they have like a little, I don't want to use black though, so I think I'm going to use this brown. Okay, they have like a little bud left, so if I tap a little into the tops of those like that, yeah, that's helping. It also gives them a little direction, so it doesn't make it look like they're all facing one way. So I'm just tapping a little bit of brown loosely into the tops of these larger berry shapes. And then once I get those in, we'll do one other thing on them, which is a little bit of a highlight. That's really making them look good. So this is just a little bit of a challenge to think beyond the dauber shape, right? If the dauber does the shape for you and then actually making them look a little more like a berry takes just a couple of touches, then I'm just tapping a little bit of white right inside that brown. I'm just waking them up a little bit. Okay. So that looks a lot better, I think. Okay, now this should be dry, and it is. We can take our 16 flat and let's get some, let's go with this brown. So I'm loading my 16 flat with floating medium, and then I'm going to come over here and side load some of this real brown. All right, and so to help these bows look a little more realistic, I'm going to come right inside with that brown and shade inside the loop. And between, let's do this loop too though first. And then go between the bows. Yeah, that's helping a lot. needs to be rounder though. Okay, now from here we can pull out short little chisel strokes. So we want to get it dark in there and then short little crease marks. Help that bow come to life. Make this a little rounder. Okay, and then from here, darken up underneath there and then pull a few of those little crease lines down. Okay, now to finish this off, shade around the curves of those outer bows. Then I'm going to take my script liner and get some inky white. See if this pops this up just a little bit. Picking up some of that wet brown, so I'm just wiping it off. So you're just doing the edges like it's a wired edge, not the outside edges of the curves. Okay, there, I think that helped a little bit. All right, so let's come out and see how everything is looking. I'm liking how that turned out, and I hope you did too. I hope you enjoyed this lesson working with metallics, creating a bow, how to create the shape of a round object, wood grain, different berries, different evergreens, and that was a lot of fun. So come back next time and we will be doing another project for the holiday season. And I will appreciate you watching and learning and painting along with me. And thank you so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.